For me, the term online predator started me off with Onision. Then, one after another, they started to pop up. There were some in mixed communities or in a gray area, like Chaotic and Mandapony. There are some in the art community, like Hopeless Lucille and Cosmodor. There were or are some in the gaming art community, like Linemaker, Minilad, and most recently, Call Me Carson, though he's more of an abuser of power than a predator, in my opinion. And it's not just on YouTube that predators have been appearing, but on TikTok too. The Bade, Tony Lopez, and Zoe Laverne, to name a few. So why was and is this happening? And why was it especially bad in 2020? Hello, girls, boys, and gods of the void, and welcome to today's video, Online Predators. Now, before I begin, I just want to remind everyone that these are my own opinions and thoughts, so everything should be taken with a grain of salt. Anyways, back to the question at hand. Why are there so many predators showing up nowadays, or showed up in 2020, in the past years? Well, I have a theory. In a time before anything could get you canceled, aka the early 2000s, the internet was like the Wild West. You could basically get away with anything and not be held accountable for it, and hence, things could get out of hand. You could do or say anything your heart desired, whether it was racist, xenophobic, homophobic, or discriminatory against any minority, which is why you could probably find problematic older tweets against most people if you look hard enough. This line of unruliness also applied to predators and pedophiles. Back then, they could easily get away with grooming minors, and since more minors were manipulated to keep their relationship with the groomer secret, they wouldn't come out with their stories, or would come out with them later, but their story would be shaky because of the gap in time between the grooming and the coming out with their story, or something of the like. However, nowadays, stuff like that doesn't fly under the radar. People, mostly celebrities, are being called out, even for the smallest of things. This also applies to said predators and pedophiles. All the grooming is bubbling up to the surface. More victims are coming out with their stories, and, because of a more progressive society we have nowadays, the stories are starting to be believed more often than doubted. Plus, it's easier to get evidence of the online grooming, though the downside is it could also easily be faked. With the evidence, the victims share their story online, and groomers are called out and canceled. But sometimes it doesn't work, as shown by Minilad. Unfortunately, the only thing the internet can really do about undesirables like them is plaster their crimes all over the place or report them to the proper authorities and wait for them to do something. That is the number one flaw and the biggest reason we cannot fully stop online predators. The cowards do all their dirty work behind a screen. While it may be the reason they are caught, it may also be the reason there are so many predators and why some don't get caught. The space between people behind screens tends to make things impersonal, sometimes too impersonal. It may make someone or some people think that they can get away with anything, even grooming, which may also be a factor to the multitude of child groomers. So, why is it so bad in 2020? Well, since there's a pandemic, everyone's inside, right? So that means everyone is either trying to find some way to pass the time or occupy the spare time they don't have. And well, what better way to do that than to peruse the internet? And since more people are spending time on the internet, like way more time and being super vigilant and stuff, they often catch these things. And so when people catch a thing, they call out, and then that leads to a whole cancellation of said person or groomer. And that's probably the reason why a lot of people have been called out in 2020, because people have so much spare time that they have been calling out groomers, which is honestly a good thing, but sometimes it can be problematic if you don't call out the right person. But that's still, it's a good thing. But then again, this is all just a theory. A game theory. Well, that's the end of my ranting. If you enjoyed the video and want more videos like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, comment down below if you want me to make an individual video about any of the predators I mentioned in the introduction. I hope you have a good day or night wherever you're at, and I'll talk to y'all in the next video. Okay, bye-bye.